Call the plumber. There's been a leak. Welcome back, troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. That's right, my friends, we have another leak on Reverb. This time, a new signature model for Billie Joe Armstrong. So let's go ahead and jump into this. It appears to be a reissue of the original run Les Paul Juniors that Gibson did back in the mid-2000s until about 2011. You can learn a little bit more about that run in this episode right here. Those ones came in an ebony finish, a sunburst finish, as well as a rarer white one that had an ebony fretboard versus rosewood. They're very well respected guitars today. I am a huge fan of them. Think a Les Paul classic back from the 90s. That's kind of what those guys are in terms of Les Paul Juniors. So they don't feel the same as a USA version of a Les Paul Jr., but they're not quite to custom shop level yet. They're just slightly below that, and that's why these things sell for crazy amounts of money on Reverb, despite the fact that they were in production for a little over 6 years. I mean, here's one they want $2,400. Here's one for $25. Oh, and who could forget their fantastically awesome case? Leopard print interior stock from the factory. And the exterior looked like this. They got the Green Day emblem and the Gibson USA screen print. And Billie actually had more signature guitars after that with Gibson, like his J180 guitar, done up around 2012, his ES137, which is kind of an interesting guitar, sharp Florentine cutaway, dual P90 pickups that Gibson Memphis produced for him. And don't forget about his double cut Les Paul Jr. in TV yellow. Essentially the only thing fancy with this one is you get a skull with hearts crossbone guy right here on the pickguard. This is by far the rarest Billie Joe signature guitar outside of his J180, simply because they just didn't make a lot of them. But those ones actually came in a gig bag that looks very similar to the case. Same exterior and the really sweet leopard print interior. And then don't forget about the controversial 2018 run, where they did the juniors again in a maraschino cherry finish, a sonic blue, as well as an ebony, that just had the really giant, obnoxiously big pickguard that people didn't really warm up to until a little bit later on. And then they also had a humbucker in that run too. So it's been about 3 years, so now Billie Joe is getting one with Epiphone. All right, now the big kicker. $749.99. That's $750. That is pretty expensive for a Les Paul Jr. I mean, for comparison's sake here, the regular original collection Junior is only $429. So why is it that we're paying almost double for Billie Joe's signature guitar? Let's go ahead and dive in here. At the time of recording this, I don't know if they're going to do all 3 colors of the original run or if they're only going to limit it to this white one. But so far, this leak confirms at least the rarest one of the original run is being done, the white. So we've got a black pickguard on this, master volume, master tone, the standard style Epiphone wraparound tailpiece with the lightning bar adjustment for intonation, and then we've got a single dog ear P90 pickup here. Your output jacks on the side, nothing looks that fancy here, but that fretboard is quite dark. Is it ebony? That would be cool. However, when you zoom in a little bit more, no, that definitely looks a little bit more rosier. But get this, check out the spec sheets. It's a real rosewood fretboard. That's a big deal on an Epiphone because most of their rosewood fretboard guitars are all Indian Laurel. And, you know, nothing against Indian Laurel fretboards, but if I could choose between that and rosewood, I would surely pay a small premium to get that wood. So that's a really exciting spec. So if they've upgraded that, I was curious, are they going to upgrade the pickup on these things? Now, unfortunately, this thing doesn't have like a full-on spec sheet. It's just all the shop's policies and stuff, and it only calls it a single dog ear P90. So we'll have to wait to see if that actually got a Gibson USA P90 or if they're going to put like a Seymour Duncan in it or something. So that's still to be determined, unfortunately. But continuing on here, it looks like we get the new Epiphone style headstock on here. I mean, that's just to be expected on any Epiphone at this point, the Kalamazoo style instead of the old one. It looks pretty nice. We've got the button tuners on the side, and then flipping over to the back, just like his original signature run, you've got his Billie Joe decal signature on the back of the headstock. And then the back is just pretty plain. So that means what makes this thing special is you get a limited edition finish that's not on the other ones from the original collection. You get a rosewood fretboard instead of Indian Laurel, and you have Billie Joe's association with this. But what if I told you? Those mad lads, they did it. Epiphone signature case. It looks the same as the Gibson one. It's got the logo there. Epiphone's branding. Is the interior what we want it to be? Yes, indeed. Fantastic, Epiphone. Thank you so much. If you wouldn't have done this, this whole release would have been a bust. So let's think here. How much of a premium does this case add to the whole package? You know, probably what, between 150 to 200 bucks. You've got Billie Joe's association with it. That's probably worth 50 to 100 bucks for somebody. The Indian Laurel fretboard, let's go ahead and give them a $50 credit on that. So at the top value estimates, that's 350 bucks, which gets us to $750. So I guess the price point does make sense, but I'm still really hoping and banking that that is a special P90 in there, not just the regular one. Because then you could put about $100 premium on that and then not have to use the high-end estimates for what everything is worth added onto this. So this might end up being a tough sell for somebody who's not a big Billie Joe fan, because let's face it, if I had 750 bucks to buy a signature Epiphone and I wanted a 1P90 guitar, and I saw this, Jared James Nichols Gold Glory, in my opinion, it's kind of a no-brainer to go to this one. This is a straight-up Les Paul custom that has that carved top with a Seymour Duncan P90 in it. Now granted, you only get the Epi-Light case with this one, but at the end of the day, this is a much higher-end guitar. And hey, get this, it actually has a straight-up ebony fretboard. If they can do ebony on this, and they were upgrading it anyways, why did they not do the ebony on this one? I'm curious if that means they will do the other two colors, the sunburst and the black. But you also have to kind of think. You can check this out in my review and demo. These Les Paul Juniors, they actually put a veneer on the back and the top in order to hide the multi-pieces the body is. If they're doing all solid colored finishes on this new run, they technically don't have to do that, and that will be a small cost savings feature to them. But I am glad that they're at least offering this white finish, because currently you can't get that even within the Gibson USA lineup outside of a custom shop made to measure type thing. And that would be very expensive for a junior. So I'll be interested to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on this one. When do I think we'll see this? Well, I mean, if this dealer has it, probably sooner than later, probably a week or two. Like just last week, we had saw the leak of the Adam Jones that just got released a day or two ago. So that's here if you want to check it out. I mean, it's already sold out. People are trying to flip them on Reverb, but so far it just doesn't seem like the drive and passion is there for this second iteration run like there is for the first run. But we'll save that for if I do the review and demo on it. But I'm kind of excited to check this one out. Like, I reviewed the Les Paul Jr. from Epiphone, and I thought, you know, it was okay, not the best. I preferred the Les Paul Special over it. I always feel these Epiphone wrap tail pieces, they don't quite feel right. And oh no. Okay, they do. I got worried there. I thought they weren't going to have the historically accurate shelf right here. Okay, crisis averted there. They're still semi-what spec'd 50 style. But at 750 bucks, I mean, you could go to the used market and get like one of these Gibson Junior tributes. I mean, sure, you won't have the Billie Joe association with it, but even something like this, a straight up special, I mean, yeah, it's used. It's not fair to compare new to used. But since we still have some time left in today's episode, I was on the Epiphone website, you know, looking for that Les Paul Jr., right? And I came across a model that was like, what? What is that? Do you guys happen to see it as we're scrolling by here? I mean, it's not the Les Paul Modern or the Studio. It's a what? Assault 220? Weird headstock, pointy cutaways. Oh, what is this thing for 379 bucks? Oh, it's a Kramer? What's that doing on Epiphone's website? Like, it's part of the Gibson family of brands now, Kramer and Epiphone. But why is it on Epiphone's website? I'm curious if it's because, you know, somebody that's shopping for Epiphones, maybe they're not selling their Kramers as well as they were hoping for. So they're going to be searching through here and they happen to see this freaky thing in the modern selection, so they check it out. And I hate to say it, I kind of like it. Epiphone used to do crazy stuff like this. I mean, this thing has a red binding on it. Looks like a master volume, master tone, 3-way toggle switch. It's got some sort of a Floyd-esque system. Kind of cool red and black bobbin pickups. Reverse shark tooth inlays in the middle of the fretboard. That one looks like a paper airplane. It's kind of cool for what it is. But they offer them in black and then just white. That one's nowhere near as cool as the red and the black. I guess that gets me thinking, what else is Kramer doing here? Like, I haven't checked in on these in a while. And to be honest, you know, they have some kind of cool stuff. I did not grow up with this brand, so I have no nostalgic feelings over any of the things that they're offering or understand half of it, to be honest. But they've got a certain 80s vibe, like that Night Swan looks pretty cool. But what I was surprised to see is, look at this, they're selling Stratocaster ripoffs. And they're actually pretty affordable, $150 for that. I mean, you've got Glary sponsoring all these episodes, Donner sponsoring episodes. Why isn't Kramer just sending these to all these YouTubers to get their opinions on them? I mean, generally, these $150 guitars, they're pretty all right for the price point, you know, all things considered. But this one has a cool matching headstock with a very recognizable brand. Now, I mean, Glary and Donner, they're definitely getting up there in reputability, but it would be hard to top Kramer at the exact same price point. So I'd actually kind of be curious to check one of these things out. Like, that purple's really cool. Really like the teal as well, but it's out of stock. So I guess let me know if you guys would be interested in a review and demo on this. But anyways, troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed learning about this new Epiphone model that's apparently coming up. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with a friend who you think would enjoy it, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care.